So is it still democracy if you can pass legislation with only 1/3 of the vote? Well, whether you think it's right or wrong, it's a new policy that's been implemented for the mayor of Toronto and Ottawa just recently by Doug Ford, so obviously we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about a new massive project maybe coming in Westboro and the surprising possible new owner of the Ottawa Senators, all in today's episode of Coming to Ottawa. So quickly before we start, guys, if you need anything real estate related in Ottawa, I'm a realtor here, that's what I do, so please feel free to reach out. My information is in the description down below. You can also book a one-on-one Zoom call, also in the description down below. So on this, let's move to news number 1, strong mayor policy. So basically, this policy gives the mayor of Ottawa and Toronto the power to veto certain bylaws. It also allows council to pass bylaws and amendments to regulations in regards to provincial priorities with only one more vote than 1/3 of the members instead of the majority. Now, I'm all for fast-tracking the process for a lot of things in Ottawa. It's been notoriously slow for builders, permits, the red taping they have to go through, everything very heavy stuff. But this measure is only good as the mayor we have now. It opens up the door to a lot of cronyism and also just straight up abuse of power. Our mayor Sutcliffe already said he's not going to use those powers because he claims that they are anti-democratic, and I tend to agree with him. This whole policy was really just passed to help Doug Ford achieve his promise to deliver 1.5 million homes over the next decade, which is unrealistic, but at least if we can get as close as possible to that goal, that's why this policy was put in place. So let's assume that this policy works and we get all those properties. Now people are concerned about sustainable changes and the corresponding infrastructures in the city that will need to sustain that immense growth that we're going to see over the next decade. It also throws a wrench into a lot of affordable housing projects that were ongoing in the city, and obviously that makes a lot of people unhappy. Affordable housing was and is still an ongoing issue in Ottawa, and to have those projects derailed by a bully measure, I don't think it's the way to go. So under the guise of the greater good, Doug Ford just basically bypassed democracy. So, I want more house, you want more houses, but to what cost? Next news, if you're in Westboro, you'll know what I'm talking about. The Granite Curling Club might be replaced by a massive new project with 3 high-rise towers and a lot of commercial space. So yes, this institution that was founded in 1953 in Westboro was for sale, and they weren't pushed out just because the taxes were too high now for them to pay, so they just decided to sell. The project that was put forward is 3 different towers, 26, 36, and 40-story, plus a lot of commercial space. Now we're a long way to go before putting shovel to the ground, because obviously you need to go through a lot of hoops before they need to have amendment passed for the setbacks, and even the zoning is not right just yet for the height of the building they want to build. So it's not anything close, but it's something that might happen in the future and change the Westboro skyline. But we need to be ready, right? Because along the LRT, we're going to see a lot more of those projects pop up. It's going to become a lot denser all along those transit lines, just because that's the way a city evolves, and we put so much money into the LRT, we need to make it worth our while. And also, if you want to reduce traffic and make people use those accommodation, those infrastructures that we're building in the city, we need to get them as close as possible to make them appealing. So we'll see if this particular project goes forward, but just know that we're going to see a lot more of them in the future. So news number 3, and I'll be honest with you, I was really surprised by this. First, I didn't know the Senators were up for sale because I'm not a hockey fan, right? But second, Ryan Reynolds might be interested in buying the Senators. And if you didn't know, don't panic just yet. The sale of the club is dependent on them staying in Ottawa, so they're not going anywhere. And now the cost of this transaction. Listen, Forbes in last December estimated the value of the club at $525 million. So I know Ryan Reynolds probably have good savings, but probably not that much. So he'll need someone, he'll need a partner with deep pockets to help him out. And that was last December, right? It was before the announcement of the new arena downtown Ottawa. So the value right now is probably much higher. So I don't know what you think about Ryan Reynolds. I do think he seems to be a genuinely nice guy. He's also Canadian, so that's good. I don't know, I do like him as an ambassador for the Senators, but I know nothing about hockey. So to all my hockey fans, is Ryan a good fit, or who would you have picked instead? Put it in the comments below. Anyway, if you want to stay current about what's going on to Ottawa, I do this show monthly, so don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. You'll get notified whenever I put some content out. And you can catch the last episode of Coming to Ottawa right here, or a lot more content about the city right here. Thank you for watching, guys. See you next week.